Welcome, everybody, to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. In the upper left corner, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cutthroat.
Gentlemen, how are we feeling? We gotta feel like it wasn't really a jam-packed sports week, but I feel like this is gonna be a little spicy show.
That's fun. I love spicy.
Spicy.
In the upper right corner, we got Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to call him the second best pitcher on Tuesdays now. One team threw a no-hitter versus this group last week. Shally gave up a hit on the second play of the game. I don't give him any credit for that, but it's Mr. William Shawcross.
That has been reported inaccurately, number one. It was like the fourth or fifth guy. And if Jacob would have caught the pop-up at home, the kid never would have batted. So I would have took my no-hitter to the second inning.
The score said single, batter 2, walk, batter 3. But, hey, listen, the score sheet has been wrong before. But it's all right. We're going to roll. I'm just kidding around. We got hot wire this week. Cottrell, do me a favor. By the way, this is episode 250. If you're listening, share us out. Do me a favor. Tag followers. Let's get it. Cottrell, let's get into hot wire, a little hot wire action. Why continue sharing this out?
Absolutely. So, go ahead, bring up the graphic like normal here. This week we got 3 topics, and I feel like this one that we're going to be starting off with here is the biggest one. You have the
light the match, baby.
The WNBA All-Star Game happened this past week, and during the warm-ups of that game, the players wore a shirt that says "Pay us what you owe us," and then afterwards, Kelsey Plum had some comments about the negotiations and just kind of what they were looking forward to there. And she made the remark and said, not to tattletale or anything, but Team Clark wasn't really present there at the meetings. And that has had, media and sports outlets everywhere kind of in a frenzy there. So wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the entire interaction there. Of course, wanted to get your thoughts on the comments, but also want to get your guys' input on, how much the WNBA players maybe deserve, or just ideas about the new negotiations that are going to be taking place after this season.
They deserve nothing. But God, Charlie, I'm kidding. They don't deserve it. They deserve more than that.
Well, where are we going to go first? Because I feel like this is going to start spider webbing out here as we all get involved in this. In regards to Kelsey Plum, I think she's an idiot. And I like Kelsey Plum. All right. Well, I actually do. But in this regards, she's got to get the hammer. This goes back to I feel like we've been preaching to the choir. Nobody's listening to us here. They refuse to get out of their own way with certain things. There was no reason to say it. It was dumb. It was a decision that reportedly was made very early in the morning to finally go ahead with it. And for whatever reason, a lot of either, Caitlin Clark's team either went to breakfast before them or after or whatever. But that's kind of the real reason they weren't present for it. But again, you saw the kind of the side eye look from Sabrina sitting next to her. There's a time and a place for everything to ruffle the feathers when the person you're ruffling the feathers of is the golden goose that is going to be, love it or hate it, the reason, a big driving force of what the money is going to be come CBA discussions is dumb. It's a complete lack of self-awareness, and there was just no need for it. She could have sat up there and said any message she wanted to do and say we're all unified and we're this and this, and she chose to try to hit Caitlin Clark with a stray. So thought it was a very dumb move. Again, I don't think these women understand that they're not winning a lot of points in the media and with casual fans with all this bickering and all this bullshit all the time. They all got to get on the same page. They got to get on the same page. And for at least the next couple, weeks when this is going to happen, at least act like they're all pulling in the same direction. They all want the same thing. That's where I'm at with Kelsey.
Yeah, Cottrell.
far as the comments go, I feel like there is a right place, right time for everything, and wasn't the time to necessarily make those comments there. I definitely can understand why people have the opinion that they do, just the timing that she gave them. However, with that said, I think it is so. Every time you mention Caitlin Clark's name, or like in this case, mention Team Clark, it's like a hot button topic. And with that said, like context that a lot of people don't realize is her saying it as a jab. It wasn't a jab at Caitlin. And that's the one misconception about this entire thing that I fully don't understand how we've got here, because she said, not the tattletale, but Team Clark wasn't present. And she said that while she was sitting next to Sabrina Ionescu,
Yep.
who's part of Team Clark. And I think, a big reason why Sabrina looked at her like that, it was like, did you really just say that? But it was also like, damn, like, way to throw me under the bus here, or like throw my teammates under the bus here. I don't understand this notion that was a jab at Caitlin, because contrary to what people believe, that don't watch WNBA, but Caitlin Clark was the leader of that team, but it wasn't her team. She wasn't responsible for everybody who did or didn't show up to that meeting where these discussions were had. Like, that wasn't a thing. So it's not a jab at Caitlin. That was the jab at the entire team there. And the other thing to just kind of finish up that point is, I know a lot of people don't know who Kelsey Plum is or have like listened to her. Kelsey Plum is one of my favorite players. So like anytime she's on a podcast or does like interviews and stuff like that, I'll watch. And if you know Kelsey, stuff like this from her gets said at least once or twice a year. Like, she is the weird, just awkward person. She says whatever is on her mind. That has nothing to do with, how she feels about certain people, or if this was like malicious. Like, she thought in the moment that was funny, and especially with Sabrina sitting next to her. But of course, it wasn't received well because of the names that are attached to the situation.
So I thought I would be disagreeing with you. I don't think that comment was directed at Caitlin Clark. I think it was directed at Team Clark and a lot of Caitlin's friends, like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sabrina, who she drafted, who she's become cool with. I don't think it was specifically at Caitlin Clark, but Kelsey Plum has a history of doing stupid things. And you're right. She gets on podcasts and she says a lot of dumb comments. This is not new for Kelsey Plum. She's done it. Remember last year, we have good players. The comment that was made after they asked her why the Aces came back. Well, we have good players. And they questioned whether that was about, like, were you saying that the Aces have good players and the Fever don't have good players? And that was dumb. It wasn't meant to be a shot. It was, how did you come back? We have good players. She says a lot of comments, and there's a lot of times in media, people that are around her basically tell her, stop talking. Just don't talk. Because she says things that are stupid. Earlier this year, she was signing autographs before LA Sparks game. The LA Sparks game was not against the Indiana Fever. There was a young girl wearing an Indiana Fever shirt, and she goes, that's the wrong shirt to be wearing here. You need to get yourself an LA Sparks shirt. I just find that interesting that she says that. And, Caitlin trolled her at the All-Star game by holding up an Indiana Fever shirt when Kelsey was announced. And then Kelsey came over, gave her a hug. It was all well and good. This is the same Kelsey Plum that picked up Caitlin Clark 94 feet in the All-Star game last year. Embarrassingly. It was almost like you can even see it on the look of Caitlin's face. Like, what are you doing? Like, this does not happen. This happened in the third quarter of an All-Star game.
East-West. Second quarter of an All-Star game when the entire team was doing a full court press.
Okay.
If you're going to say it, let's talk about the full story. It was the second quarter and the entire team full court press for the entire quarter.
I was referring to when Kobe Bryant picked up LeBron James in the third quarter of an All-Star game when he was trying to play him one-on-one at the All-Star game. So I said this happened in a men's All-Star game where Kobe Bryant picked up LeBron James 94 feet. And it also happened in the second quarter of the WNBA All-Star game, picking her up at 94 feet. Kelsey Plum is a person that I think, and this is context, this is not factual, I think has why wasn't it me theory. Like, why wasn't it me mentality? Why wasn't I the one that brought the attention to WNBA? Why wasn't I broke the scoring record? I'm this girl that went to the WNBA. Why wasn't it me? And I think that jealousy kicks in a lot. And she says a lot of comments that are very, very touchy. Do I think that specific comment was at Caitlin specifically? Probably not. It might have been. But the point that needs to be made is the WNBA I thought it was a terrible with the shirts. I thought it was a terrible idea. But they did a protest where they wore shirts. Protest is the wrong word. A demonstration where they wore shirts that say, pay us what you owe us. It didn't go over very well. Fine and dandy. Everyone wore them. But the one thing that they had until that press conference was a united front. If they agreed with it or didn't agree with it, every woman wore the shirt. I don't think they all agree with the concept of pay us what you owe us on the shirt. I don't think they agree with that. And what they're asking for in the collective bargaining agreement is ridiculous. If they want 50-50, they're out of their damn mind. They're at 9% now. A good pay raise would be to 25% or to push the collective bargaining agreement 2 years down the road until the TV deal kicks in. They are still operating at a net negative, but they want 50% of the revenue. 50% of the revenue is not 50% of the profit. Now, they've earned a pay raise. They've absolutely earned a pay raise. But Kelsey Plum did a terrible job articulating them earning a pay raise.
So just fact checking a couple things here.
Sure.
Does Kalia Copper not like Arike Ogunbowale?
No, I have no idea.
All right, because she also picked up Arike Ogunbowale in that same second quarter that we're referring to here. Again, a misconception of this whole Kelsey Plum picked up Caitlin Clark 94 feet in an all-star game. It's just simply false because it was Team USA versus WNBA All-Stars, and Team USA was getting ready for their Olympic run, and they were running sets. They ran a full court press the entire second quarter. If you go back and watch the game, they ran it for the entire second quarter. Caitlin Clark was in. Caitlin Clark wasn't in. Kelsey Plum is a guard. She picked up a guard. This has nothing to do with who was checking Caitlin. This wasn't a personal thing. Go back and watch it. That's all I ask you guys. Go back, watch the second quarter of that game, and you'll see what it was. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's not, they don't want 50% of the full revenue. They want it from this TV deal that is coming into place here. And while I think 50% is a high number, I agree that that's probably not where you're going to be at this point. The other reality of it is when you look at the comparison to the NBA side of things, the NBA wasn't profitable for 40 years. And players were making way more money in comparison, of course, due to inflation than what these WNBA players are making right now. The NBA back then, like if you just comparison to comparison, where the league was at 30 years in, they were losing about $6 million a year, which you account for inflation. That's about $35 million a year. And the W has been losing about $40 million a year. But as soon as this TV deal,
I got to fact check you. You said they've been losing about $40 million a year. That's not correct at all. They lost $40 million from 2024, which was their most profitable year. They lost $160 million in 2023. So don't say 4 years. You could say for 1 year. That's fine. I'll hear that.
Well, they're also on pace to use about $40 million this year as well. That's why I said 4 years. But with that said, back then, players were making, on average, in 1976, the average salary was $130,000. If you put that up to today's rate just based on inflation, that's about $754,000. And there's nobody in the WNBA that's making anywhere close to that right now. So
what was NBA's revenue back then?
They weren't making any money. They were losing. They were losing
No, that's profit. What was the revenue still being generated?
I don't know what their revenue was, man. They weren't making any money.
More than it is now.
which is fine. They weren't making money. The WNBA is not making money. The WNBA is on track to make money in year 32. The NBA didn't start making money until like year 45. So regardless of how you look at things, like the WNBA is on a faster track, and a big part of it is because of the TV deal, things like that.
And
so
the NBA,
what was that?
A big part of it is because of the NBA,
which is fine. But
I just want to be
that
clear
doesn't mean
that like you could say it took longer for the NBA. It's always longer for the first people to bust through the door.
Absolutely.
Also,
but the point being is that they should be making a lot more money than what they're making now. Pay us what you owe us when you're getting a $200 million TV deal. That is 9% is not going to cut it. Nowhere close. They're not even in the same ballpark.
Nobody's saying they should stay at 9, but 50 is crazy, and they're still not generating a profit. The NBA back then, the owners got into it knowing we're going to lose money. The WNBA has been skating on the NBA's pocketbook since they've been in inception. They've been paying for it. They got their arms twisted to pay for it. They're still paying for it. So yeah, the NBA players that are generating all this revenue, there's a huge chunk of it that the owners have to give to the WNBA every year. Is 9% okay? No, it's not. I think we can all agree there. The 50% thing, someone needs to put the drugs down. Like put them down, brush them into the toilet, in the trash can, wherever you want to go. 50% is nuts. You can't ask for 50% when you're not making a profit. That is crazy. Nobody would do that. That's insane. It's literally shooting yourself in the face.
I'm not saying 50 is the number. I'm saying they would, if they ask for 35, I think they're in a good, I'm not saying they get 35, but that's what they should have been asking for.
25.
You're not getting 20. If they get 20 or 25, they're lucky. If they're smart, they would agree to like a 3% in the next 2 years and then wait and see where they really are when the TV money kicks in, and then go back to the table.
Year.
It's 2 years, I think.
It's 2026, 2027 season. That's
the
next
2026
year.
Season. It's 1 year season. 2026 season is when it kicks in. You're right. It's next year. And that is when it kicks in. It's $200 million a year over 10 years. So it still operates them at negative, which you mentioned, because they're not projected to be in the positive until 2032, which I project they'll be in the positive by 2029, 2030, based off of the new stars. I think they're projecting low, if I'm being honest. And I agree with what? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was saying I agree with that.
I think that a lot of what you're saying, I think we agree on a lot of what we're saying. I think that whenever Caitlin Clark's name comes up, it is an absolute buzzword, and people are on two different sides of the fence. And there are people that defend her at all costs, which I'm trying not to be. And there are people that absolutely are on the other side of the fence no matter what. They just, this is why that happened. This is why it happened. DeJournette did that because this is the way DeJournette is. And Kennedy did that because Kennedy just always does this. And Cheryl Swoops said that because Cheryl Swoops is like everything is defended versus everything is a problem. Do I think everything needs to be defended? Absolutely not. Do I think everything is a problem? Absolutely not. But it's kind of the way I lie in politics. I kind of sit on the middle of the fence. I don't like going on either side of the fence because I think that there's some right and some wrong on both sides. It's funny, 2 weeks ago, me and you were having a conversation where I'm like, Caitlin needs to get her head out of her ass. And you're like, she's going to be fine. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why are we on the opposite side of this?
Yeah.
But I try my best to be objective. Biggest issue I have with Kelsey Plum is the fact that she doesn't present a united front when she says a comment like that. And whether or not you talk about ignorance or not, like people don't watch the game or not, what you're trying to capture is the casual fan. I have quotes on top of quotes by idiotic casual fans, but they're casual fans. It was a very powerful moment as player. I'm sorry. I am a fan, but I don't like how you threw Team Clark under the bus. We all make mistakes, but that lacked character. Second one, I used to love her. She was one of my go-to gals to watch in the league, but no longer. She is practicing her hateful and resentful side. She was a leader, but not anymore. She's a divider. So disappointed in her. So disappointed. These are fans that are writing this stuff, whether or not they're ignorant, right? They don't know. She's not a hateful person. She might be a little jealous. We can agree to disagree there, but this is what happens now. You've divided the fan base of what they want to support them. It was a stupid comment. It was dumb. And because Caitlin Clark's name was in it, it got a ton of negative publicity, which I don't necessarily fully agree with. I think it was Team Clark. I think she was trying to be funny while being, you ever see that like left-handed compliment when someone's funny while they're taking a dig? Haha, I'm just playing. Like somebody's like, oh, you're fat. Oh, I'm just kidding with you. Well, I am fat. So I get it. But like those comments are things like that. See, this is what I mean. Plum is a mean girl. She hates that she's not the best. You see, like, and Derek, listen, I love Derek, but I don't think she's a mean girl. I just think she's stupid sometimes. Caitlin Clark sells tickets. I went to a Liberty Fever game last night. Before CC injury, nosebleeds were $130 a seat. After, as low as $30, $50. I think this is an easy thing to talk about. Thank you, Ghost.
I agree with a lot of what you said there. Like that part we align with. Like
we don't disalign on a lot of it. It's just you are one of the people that is very, very quick to be on the other side of the fence. When everyone's supporting Caitlin, you'll be on the other. Now, when people are trash talking her, then you hop back on Caitlin's side. You're like, oh, she's a really good player. Like you're a little bit more level-minded than most people are, but you're one of those people.
My thing is that this is sports. You won't have me. If you're talking bad about a player, whether it's, off the court, someone slights them, whatever the case may be, like, I don't have to defend them. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, this is basketball. A lot of the times when we're having these conversations, I said it, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, and we had a discussion about the WNBA, and I had said, like, people are starting to understand now. This is when the JC Sheldon and Caitlin Clark thing had happened. I'm like, JC Sheldon, it's not that JC Sheldon is like, the biggest Caitlin Clark hater out there. Like, they have history. Like, they go back to the college days. Like, it's basketball. There's competitive nature there. Like, what JC Sheldon did was wrong, but what Sophie Cunningham did back to her, like, that's the nature of the game. Like, so when it comes to that side of it, I'm all in. Like, let them play basketball. I think a lot of people, because they're so new to the WNBA, they ultimately just think that everybody has to get along. And I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not saying this is the case. I'm not saying Caitlin and Kelsey, like, this is that particular moment, but I'm saying that's why I'm always on the side I'm on when we're not talking about the actual competitive nature of a basketball game.
But Joy Taylor had a point. Her whole point was wrong when Joy Taylor talked about the reason people are talking about Caitlin Clark is because of Angel Reese. Like, her whole point's wrong. But she had a point in what she said. A lot of middle Americans and a lot of Midwesterns and a lot of casual fans seen a little timid, frail white girl getting her face talk shit in by a strong, unapologetic black woman. And that's what got a lot of people to hate Angel Reese and love Caitlin Clark. They felt like they were rooting for someone that was getting bullied. And I'm not saying they're correct or they're right in that narrative. What I'm saying is that's what happened. And she's somewhat right in what she said, but she's out of her mind if she thinks people weren't talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese. That's like wildness. I can't understand that part, but the basis of her point wasn't incorrect.
I get it. Like I said, for the most part, when we're not talking about, if we want to talk about Caitlin shooting the ball well, I'm all for it. If we're talking about her shooting the ball bad, I'm all for it. But I'm going to be fair in both ways. Like, you said she needs to play better. I said she's coming off of a groin injury. She'll be fine. Like, if she had been playing bad and that groin injury wasn't there, we would have a different conversation. She needs to play better. I can't give her excuses and things like that. But that was the case. And now she re-aggravated the groin injury. So when she comes back, if she struggles a little bit at first, I can't be super down on her. It's going to take her a little bit of time to get back. I know how great she is, and I've seen her be great. So if it takes a little bit of time to come back, like, I'm not going to be like how you see certain Angel fans. It's like, oh, well, Angel's playing great. Like, she's probably been a top 10 player the last 12 games of the year. and things like that, they don't have to go hand in hand with each other.
I agree. All right, that's enough. 25 minutes, and we didn't even fight that much.
We didn't. I was actually a little surprised by that.
So you just add this topic in there to get. Go ahead, bro.
So second one here. We got a little bit of NBA news. We got some people trading places, and possibly going back home. You had Damian Lillard sign a deal, 3-year, $42 million deal to go back to Portland. Chris Paul just signed a 1-year deal to go back to LA. And then you had Marcus Smart bought out, and he signed a deal to go play with the Los Angeles Lakers. Gentlemen, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts and reactions to these free agent signings that aren't necessarily magic here, but I feel like they're noteworthy because of who a couple of these players are and the impact they may or may not have to the team.
The Dame Lillard one doesn't matter. He's not going to play next year. He's going to retire there. They're never going to be good. It's in Dame Lillard's career. Doesn't matter. The Chris Paul one barely matters. He's a backup point guard. If James Harden gets hurt, he'll give you 15, 20 minutes. His family lives in LA. Cool. Got it. Understood. The Marcus Smart one makes the Lakers the 4th best odds for me to win the NBA Finals next year. And I think that is, I cannot believe they got a previous defensive player of the year, like just 3 years ago. And they got him for nothing, like the vet minimum, essentially. He got nothing. And it's a steal for the Lakers. Marcus Smart's the perfect combo guard to play across from Luka. Marcus Smart will give you the defense. He'll give you the hustle. He'll give you the toughness. The only fear I have with Marcus Smart is he's going to get in an argument with LeBron and he might get his ass traded. Like he might push Bronny at practice. I'm not kidding. Like that might happen. He's not sharp. He's not all there. I do have a question that comes off of this. So I want to get Shally's take on it next, and we'll talk about it. But I do have a question that comes off of this specific graphic.
I mean, on the face of it, I agree completely with Gene. I think Dame and CP3 they're nice stories. I think in a perfect world, you would probably say they both retire with those teams. And that's how they'll finish out. CP3 will obviously probably have more of an impact next year because Dame's not going to play, and if something does go down to Harden, he's capable of playing meaningful minutes and still running that team. So I think Dame is just going to go back there, probably play a year or two, and retire and ride off in the sunset. Like Gene said, they're not going to be contenders or anything. So he'll go on that list of one of the best to never win one. Smart's interesting for a whole bunch of reasons, and Gene nailed a couple of the big ones. Defensively, he helps that team immensely. We've made jokes about it on this team of how bad they are defensively. He's a huge upgrade for that team. Can he stay healthy? We'll see. Can he keep his mouth shut? We'll see. Because those will matter. I mean, there's all the stories out there about people getting traded because they call LeBron a bitch. Something goes wrong at practice, like he says, he gets heated, pushes Bronny, like he'll be out the door in 10 minutes. So it's going to be a very interesting mix. I think if they can make it work and they can figure out the rotation and he plays meaningful minutes and he's the player he was back in Boston. I agree with Gene. I think it's an enormous pickup for practically nothing for the Lakers.
You guys can say that about Marcus Smart all you want to about him and pushing Bron's buttons and getting himself traded. Marcus Smart was smart. The first thing he'd do was be buddy with Luka. The Lakers have already said, hey, we're worried about Luka's future here. We know we got Bron and Luka right now. We're worried about their timeline. So if If he gets into it with Bron, they might just be like, hey, Bron, you got to deal with it, buddy. You're not going to be here after next year anyway. So either suck it up or, if you want to get traded, we find a way to get you out of here too. We know you got the no trade clause, but we'll find a way to get you somewhere if that's what you want to do. So I think that would be Marcus Smart's just best bet right away. You get in good with Luka, you might be a Laker for the rest of your career. But as far as these other two signings go here, the one thing I want to mention with Damian Lillard contract is obviously his 3-year deal there. His first year, he's not going to play at all. The second year, he's going to be back. He's going to be playing. But the third year is a player option. And I think, Dame probably wants to retire a Portland Trailblazer. I think that's his ultimate goal. I think those 2 years in Milwaukee made him realize that grass ain't always greener on the other side. But with that said, though, if Dame at that point, Dame will be 36 going on 37. If he wants to ring chase for a year, because I think after an Achilles injury at 35, like you're on the downside of your career, your time's ticking. You probably got at best 3 playing seasons left. If he wants to go ring chase or he wants to potentially just go somewhere for a year and see what happens, I think he's going to have the ability to do that. I think going back to Portland made himself comfortable, and he gets the rehab at home. And then that following year, I feel like he's going to have as much confidence as a player could have coming off of a torn Achilles, being in a city that you're comfortable in, where you know everybody, where your family is and things like that. So I think ultimately, yes, Dame's career we're at the tail end of it, but I don't necessarily think that means his last season will end up in Portland, because I think he did it very strategically just in case he wants to ring chase that final year or two. And then as far as Chris Paul, it's been reported that he's already, Brian Windhorst has basically said that they've had a discussion with him that he may not even play every night. And so I think similar to Dame, what was important to him was getting closer to his family. Yep. And this being his last year, you go to the Clippers. The Clippers have a quietly really deep team. Their biggest thing is going to be, can they stay healthy? But the Clippers are a team that can potentially compete for a championship this year. So I think for Chris, it was one last chance to try and go out and get a ring. You get closer with your family, and you get to have your farewell tour ultimately be in LA. I think this was a perfect situation for him there as well.
So the sidebar question I wanted to bring up, because it's been all over the internet, right? And I'm going to preface this question with the prime of these players' career. I'm not talking about their accomplishments, maybe their 5-year prime. You might be shocked at what my answer is, but this has been all over the internet. They've been putting these 4-point cards next to each other, and I don't want to do start bench cut. I just want you to rank them 1 through 4. Prime of their career, their best of their best. Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, and Kyrie Irving are the 4 names that are on that list. I want you to rank their primes 1 through 4. I got to go last because I don't think I'm going to go in the direction you guys think I'll go.
And you said, what is this ranking based off of? You said it's not necessarily their careers. You just said prime versus prime.
Best. They're prime. Like, give them that they're best. Like, you get all 4 of these players their best, rank them.
All right. So I think my 1 and my 4 are easy. It's my 2 and 3 that I'm struggling here with.
Your 1 and your 4 are easy. If you throw Chris Paul at 4, I am going to lose my mind.
No, if you don't throw Chris Paul at 4, I'm going to be pissed.
No. Kyrie is my 4. Russell Westbrook is my 1. Okay. Those 2 for me are easy.
So you're debating between Chris Paul and Dame.
Correct.
Okay, so
prime
do you
for
want
prime? Like Chris Paul has obviously had the better career. So I'll put Chris at 2, and then I'll put Dame at 3.
Look at you. Look at the growth.
The thing is, and it's always been the misconception here, you swear that I hate Chris Paul.
You do.
And that is not the case. I don't hate Chris. My thing is, and I will say as well, this is going to sound crazy. 2025 on Wire2Wire, I am growing to understand people's opinion of Chris Paul being considered a winner with no championships. However, I also think we need to clarify for a lot of other people what we can like if we consider them winners or not. And I think if we can get more clear on that, then I'll have no problem just 100% fully accepting Chris Paul being considered a winner.
Okay, well, that's not for here nor there. Callie, I'd love to hear your top 4.
I'm going. I will go begrudgingly. I'll put Russ 1.
Oh, Russ is not 1 for me.
Actually, you know what? You actually not yet. Time out. You know, I'm not doing it. I'm going. See, it's tough. I think Kyrie's the most talented out of all 4 of them.
That's a different discussion.
I know, and I hate Kyrie. Screw it. I'm going with what my initial reaction to this was. I'm going Kyrie 1. Damon's prime was a killer, though. I'm going Kyrie, Dame, CP, Russ.
He had Russ 1 38 seconds ago.
I just went back to literally when you were reading them off. The first order I put them in was my gut reaction. So that's where I'm going.
It's funny because when I read the question, I read the prompt, I heard prime, the prime of their career. I didn't consider the prime of their career 1 year because if it was, I'd have to put Russ up there. Russ won an MVP. The other 3 didn't. I considered the prime of their career like the midst of when they were max players, when they were really top tier players, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. And it's really tough for me to not, because I know that Kyrie Irving's the best player on the list. So I put Kyrie 1, I put Chris Paul 2, I put Russell Westbrook 3, and I put Dame 4.
See, he kept the narrative up. You bitched out.
No, it's not like a narrative to me. I look at the length of the prime of Chris Paul and what he does as a point guard. It's point guard edition. All 4 of those guys are point guards. If you're asking me who's the best scorer, yeah, I mean, obviously Chris is 4th on that list in his prime. But I'm looking at it like based off what they did in the prime of their career. And Chris Paul has made so many irrelevant bigs money by throwing lobs. It's amazing to me. DeAndre Jordan is a whole career because of Chris Paul. He can thank him. I think he should be in his retirement speech.
I mean, Chris Paul's a great point guard. So, I mean, nothing
But I put
against
Kyrie
that there.
1, which I thought you guys would. I thought I was going to get revered for this. I'm not revered for this.
I mean, I just think it's what you value. Because if we're talking talent, Kyrie wouldn't have been 4 for me. I'm just talking prime v prime. Like I've seen Damian Lillard take his team to the playoff as the best player on the roster. I've seen Chris Paul take his team to the playoffs as the best player on the roster. And both of them, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, what both of them did while they were in Oklahoma City, Russ the year after KD left, and Chris Paul the year that he first got traded over there, them getting their teams to the playoffs was like absolutely incredible to me there. And for Kyrie, like Kyrie is probably one of the best Robins ever, like probably like top 10 Robins ever. He's not Kobe, he's not Scottie Pippen. Like I'm not putting him on that caliber level, but like he's the best Robin you can really think of.
You think Kobe's a Robin?
He was a Robin
for Shaq.
He
was.
Years. That's
for Shaq. He was. Yeah, absolutely. He was. I mean, Shaq gets 3 Finals MVPs. I mean, he was Robin then. I mean, it's not a slight to him. Just those 3, exactly. But yeah, as a whole though, like Kyrie, the reason why I couldn't put him any higher than 4 is I'm looking at it in their primes.
I don't know how you don't put him ahead.
Who were the Batmans?
I don't know how you don't put him ahead of Dame. I look at what Kyrie does and what Dame does, and Kyrie just does everything better. Outside shoot the long distance ball. But like I look at what they do on a basketball court. Kyrie's got better handles. Dame's got great handles. Kyrie's better. Kyrie's better finishing in the paint. Dame finishing in the paint, but Kyrie's better. Like I think Kyrie, they're both terrible defenders, but Kyrie at least defends a little better than Dame does. I don't
know if Kyrie gets the Blazers to the Western Conference
You're
Finals.
right, his
I don't know
mentality.
if they're
You're right.
perennial like playoff teams with Damian Lillard. Like, I think people forget
Flat
like
earther.
Damian Lillard was the guy who took that Nuggets team, won the championship 7 games, like
Yeah.
dropped 55 in a double OT game, and they ended up losing it. And the Nuggets ended up going on and winning the series. Like, that's how good of a player Dame was, like in his prime, and that was just 4 years ago. So I mean, I think that's a big part of it for me.
Okay. Little hot wire action. Let's move on. Let's get some holdouts, some contract disputes.
Yeah. So last topic here. Wanted to get some gridiron action here. And contracts have been the hot button topic here, with a lot of teams either reporting to camp or starting camp or about to start camp and things like that. So you have a couple that aren't present right now. Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders is not with his team at camp. Trey Hendrickson is not with his team at camp. Micah Parsons is at camp, but his contract discussions feels like talked about every single day at this point, because either Micah is saying something or Jerry Jones is saying something to the media. So another person I wanted to bring in here, just with this discussion here, wanted to get your guys' thoughts. I don't know if you guys have like a strong opinion in general regarding holdouts, or if any of these situations kind of strike you one way or another, but just wanted to get your guys' thoughts, reactions to the holdouts or hold ins in Micah's case.
I generally think when you do it the way Mike is doing it, you're at least showing good faith, and I think you're being a better teammate by actually like still being in meetings and things like that. I mean, obviously he knows the defense. He doesn't have to sit there and go through those things, but he's still putting in a good faith effort, and I think putting on the show at least that you're doing the right thing. McLaurin, that was what I think kind of popped up out of nowhere. And I think all of a sudden, with the success they had last year, bringing in Debo and all that, he's like, all right, well, I am wide receiver 1 here. Like, I want to get paid. You got your star quarterback now. I've been the guy that has played with 19 other quarterbacks since you drafted me and put up numbers. I want to get paid. That one's an interesting one to watch. And then, I mean, Trey Hendrickson, I mean, that's been going on forever. It looked like it was going to get better. I actually think he was there the first couple of days and then left and went home because it's just not progressing the way they're not close. So if I had to pick out of the 3 of them, I think Trey is definitely the one most likely not to play or not to start the season with the team. He seems pretty dug in, and being a guy that's been there for a long time and a leader, I think he feels pretty disrespected with what's going on with the Bengals. So I think Mike is the interesting one because he's the biggest name. He's the best player on that list. And I think him being outspoken, which we've talked about on the show a bunch of times because he does say dumb stuff. But him going back and forth in the media with Jerry, I think is going to get more interesting as it goes. Jerry cannot let him hit free agency, though. So I think when push comes to shove, he's going to have to pay him. He's going to have to pay him what he wants. He's going to have to figure it out because if he gets on the free market, he will not be a Cowboy again.
So that's absolutely correct. I view all 3 of these situations completely different. Here's one, right? Terry McLaurin's been underpaid for years. This is actually the only year I think he's actually being genuinely paid what he's worth. He's on the hook for $25 million this year. No one, he just wants an extension.
Yeah.
And the fact that Debo Samuel came over is making more money than him. And that's kind of wild to him and to the organization. They have the money to pay him. What?
I said it should be to anybody.
Correct. So they have the money to pay him. You still have a quarterback on a rookie deal. They're still going out there trying to sign people. They're still trying to get veterans. Like, there's been trade talk with them trying to get with Washington to trade, or for Miami to trade for Tyreek Hill. Like, there's a lot of different conversations that are happening out there. And Terry McLaurin's like, dude, come on. I just came off a career year. We made it to the NFC Championship game. Extend me. I'll come and be the soldier I need to be at. I don't think Washington has them in their long-term plans. I really don't. It's not a Dan Quinn guy to begin with. So I think that at the end of the day, that is interesting. The Trey Hendrickson one, and just going through this directly, is a joke. It's because the Bengals organization is awful. They're the worst organization, like as far as contracts go, outside of who I'm about to talk about next. But Trey Hendrickson's not signed. Their first round draft pick's not signed. They're both like, what are they doing in Cincinnati? Joe Burrow mentioned it finally to the media. Like, he went out there and he's just like, this is discouraging. I'm not thrilled that the Bengals can't get these contracts under wraps. Like, he's not thrilled. The Bengals do this with everyone. It is terrible. They did it with T. They did it with Jamar. They're doing it now with Trey. It's like they're cheap. They just it's like trying to get their wallet away from them. They don't want to give $1 out. You got to sign Trey Hendrickson. And if you're not going to sign Trey Hendrickson, you got to try to trade him and sign your first round draft pick who you drafted to be an edge rusher anyway. They're ridiculous. And then they're going in the media talking about their first round pick, Jamar Stewart, right? I'm just making sure.
Jamar Stewart, yep.
So they're talking about him. Oh, he's getting bad advice. Like, this is just normal. Like, no, it's not normal to put weird clauses in your contract. And when you try to sniff something by somebody and they realize, then you've lost all good faith. So the Bengals are a joke of an organization for the way they handle contracts. Now that leads me to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas cannot get out of their own way. They're the last one to sign a quarterback. They had to give Dak like $60 million. They were the last one to sign a wide receiver. They had to give CeeDee Lamb all that money. And now they're going to be the last one to sign the edge rusher. TJ signed his deal. Miles signed his deal. Like, Max signed his deal. All those guys signed monster deals, and now Jerry's stuck with the bag. And Jerry doesn't do himself any favors. He goes in the media, well, he paid Dak all that money last year, and he didn't play 2/3 of the season. What the hell is that relevant with signing the contract for Micah Parsons, who was on the field? And by the way, Micah Parsons has earned his money. He's played all the years that he's been a Dallas Cowboy. He's earned the money. If you're not going to sign him, that's fine. Just say, I'm not going to sign him. We don't have the money to. We just signed CD. We signed Dak. We're going to have Micah play out his contract. We'll hope to get him back in the offseason, knowing he's not going to re-sign there. They will not. If Micah Parsons reaches free agency, he will 100%. The only call he won't take is from the Cowboys. Even if it's the most money, he won't take it. And it's because of the disrespect. I mean, honest, there's no real movement. You know, I want to be here. I've always said I wanted to be here. But, and he says, I mean, honest, there's no movement. But at the end of the day, they signed the check like always. Let's see if they want me here at the end of the day. I think they got their timeline on when they want to get things done. At any given time, they can get things done. So I don't think that helps. I just think I'm doing this for myself and my teammates. If they don't want me here, they don't want me here. I go about my business. I understand the nature of the business. Like I said, as long as I'm here and under contract, I'm going to do what I do and perform at the highest level. But if this is how it's going to end, this is the end, you know, the same way that Jerry Jones and Steven and the other Jones take care of their family, that's the way I'm going to need to take care of my family. Perfect. I love that Dallas screws this up because you're either going to have to pay him $41 million to be an edge rusher or he's going to walk. And both things I'm happy with.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Mike at this point is, by making him wait, it might be $45 million a year. Like, who knows what might happen there. And the thing is that Mike is actually playing this the right way. I think he could have, ultimately had these conversations last year and really not had leverage because he had an extra year left on his deal. But Mike is calling the Cowboys bluff, essentially. He's saying, like, hey, if you guys don't want to pay me, I'm going to show up every single day. I'm going to give you guys what I got during the regular season. And at that point, like you said, Gene, I'm out. Like, if we can't get this done before then, I'm going to have to do what I have to do. So, because there's going to be somebody out there that's going to give Micah, and we know the revenue's going up every year and things like that. Micah can probably go out and sign a 45, probably even close to $50 million a year deal next year, just with how the revenue just keeps going up and up and up. He's in the prime of his career at this point. Like, this is his contract after the his rookie deal. So you have no true concerns there with Micah, and I think he's handling everything the right way there. And ultimately, I do think the Cowboys get it done. You kind of saw it last year before Dak got his deal. Dak was showing up every day. There was nothing going on behind the scenes, but 3 hours before kickoff, Dak signs this monster extension, and now he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys for the next 6 years or 5 years, whatever the deal was. So I think they're ultimately going to get it done.
Jerry Jones does not do himself any favors. This is Jerry Jones's quotes. Listen to this. Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. I remember signing a player that be the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out for 2/3 of the year. Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about, just as the player does when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money. You're a moron. Shut up. Stop talking. Actually, for me, keep talking.
But the one thing, though, is that, so yes, Jerry is a moron, but like, it's, to me, though, it's almost like if you get drafted as a Cowboy and that's where you start your career, like, over time, it almost feels like they like brainwash you in a way. Because Dak, he was saying the same stuff about Dak last year. Like, before he gave Dak all that money. It was like, oh, well, you know, Dak ended up getting hurt and was out, you know, that significant amount of time or whatever. And he was saying all that stuff about Dak, and Dak was just showing up to practice every day. And he reported, never had to hold out, nothing like that. Like, CeeDee Lamb had like a kind of a holdout, but it was nothing major. Like, we weren't really talking about it. He was showing up every day. It didn't really last long. Like, I don't know what it is about that Cowboys organization, but they have like this mind control. And of course, it doesn't work with other free agents. Like, I think that's a big part of why you don't see them getting that splash in free agency. Like, people don't want to deal with that kind of nonsense when it comes to their money or how they're going to be treated and things like that. So I don't know. I think that'll be interesting to see there. The other two, I do view completely different. Terry McLaurin, I understand where both of these guys are coming from, but I think you're going to ultimately have two different outcomes there. Terry McLaurin, this is your 1 year to essentially get your money. You're about to be on the other end of 30, and you're going to need to. This is going to be your last chance to get a long-term deal where you get that mega payday, because you never know, especially at the receiver position. You can be elite 1 year, legs start to slow down, you have an injury, and then you're not even a number one option anymore. I mean, look how fast Deebo Samuel kind of fell off just from like a basic injury there. So as far as Trey Hendrickson goes, though, I do feel like I don't know if that deal gets done ultimately. Like, I really don't think so. He said they're very far off. He also said that he told Manti Te'o, like, the biggest thing is that it's the guarantees. Cincinnati is not offering him the guarantee money or anywhere even in the ballpark of the guaranteed money that he feel like he deserves. And that's the same deal with Shamar Stewart. You know, you talk about their first round pick. That's the same reason why they aren't where they are, according to the Cincinnati owner. So if that's the case and they don't want to give out this guaranteed money, people will not want to play for you. And it already bit them in the ass before, because they could have had Jamar Chase probably for $20 million less than what they're paying him now. Had they just paid him before the Triple Crown season.
Gentlemen, I'm going to kind of pivot here because I really want to take a little time on Major League Baseball. I want to take time on Major League Baseball. I think it's the most important topic after Hot Wire. So I don't want to like slide that in before we do trivia at 7:55. PGA is simple. I don't mean to be an asshole when I say this. We don't need to talk too long about that. Scotty Scheffler is dominant. The guy is incredible. Can I ask you a question, Charlie? How close are we to seeing the greatest golfer we've ever watched? Like, is he on that trajectory? Like, how close is Scotty Scheffler from being prime Tiger, from being like the greatest of all time?
About 30 more tournament wins.
Jesus. Okay.
Here's to put it in perspective for you. Rory has 5 now. I mean, you look at like what Brooks did over that 3-year run where he won 5. And Scheffler's not even there yet. Tiger's got 16. So You have to remember there's that one crazy stat. I can't remember what it was, but it was like 20 straight starts where Tiger didn't finish worse than like 5th or something. Like, we're just not there. And Scotty's great. I love Scotty. Don't get me wrong. He is zoned in and on a different planet, a different plane than everybody else right now. If he shows up and plays well, he's going to win. And that's very rare. That's very rare. To be that good that if you bring your game, there's nobody that can touch you right now. And that's where he's at. But I mean, Tiger's on Jupiter. We're just not close. Like, just
we're still on Earth.
Yeah, we can take pictures of it and look at it and say it's real nice, but we're not close to landing on it.
I did want to just mention, and I only want to bring this up because I thought it was really interesting. But if you looked at the Open, if you watched the whole thing, right? Bryce doesn't shoot a 78 on Thursday. He shot just as well on Friday, Saturday, Sunday as Scotty. But
I mean,
what makes Scotty so good is he can put together 4 championship rounds. Like, there was a couple of times where Scotty got himself into trouble, and Scotty got himself out of trouble by being able to recover, by able to get up and down from tough places over and over and over again. Bryson seems to be the guy that once things start fading for him, the day fades. When things are going well, I think he's just as good.
Listen, he
until they're not going good.
Correct.
Yeah.
My point.
The biggest thing about Scotty is, and what he's doing right now, you've seen it with Rory in the past. You saw it with Brooks when he went on his run. Their bad days aren't a 78, like you said. Their bad days when they don't have it is they grind and they still shoot 1 under. It's not 4 or 5 under like everybody else, but you're not giving another 6 shots back and shooting a 78 and putting yourself in the hole. That's what makes those guys special. When you get locked into major golf, it's getting through those days and not blowing up. Rory's the same way. Rory had a bad first day and then played great the rest of the way. He had that really bad double bogey on like 12 or whatever, which pretty much ended the tournament for him. Yep. But again, I think he shot 74 day one. If not, he's right there. Scotty doesn't have that round right now. Scotty, and that was Tiger in his prime. You could have those days where you'd watch Tiger and he'd drive the ball all over God's creation, but he would still find a way to make par after par after par, go to the range, fix it, and you knew the next day he was going to come out, he was going to shoot 66, and you knew he was coming. And that's what Scotty can do right now. He's like I said, it's just you have to applaud it. If you're a golf fan, you obviously enjoy it. If you're a casual, watch it because he's on a tear right now.
Yeah, 68, 64, 67, 68. It's silly. It's silly. Bryson went 78.
Crazy.
Well, Bryson went 78, 65, 68, 64.
Yeah, so he finished at then?
He finished 10th.
Yeah, so if he shoots even par, just even par,
he ties him.
That's what I'm saying.
It's insane. All right, guys. It's 8:00. I've been looking forward to this trivia question since I texted the group. What?
I said you really have been.
I texted the group. I said this is a demon trivia question. Now I want to be clear. I have 14 names on this list, and I'll tell you why I have 14 names. If either one of you guys get 13 and 14, I'll count them. You shouldn't get them. And if you get them, I'm going to look you dead in the eyes and be like, you're a fucking cheater. Because there's no way you're getting – it's like the Eagles list if me or Shally would have got like one of the guys from 1931. It's not happening. Now, you might be that good. If you're that good and you get 13 and 14, I'm going to give you the credit for the point. It's going to be 1st to 6 wins because and you'll understand why. The trivia question is Madden comes out next week. 2015, 10 years ago, 2015 top 14 players in Madden rankings, top 14 players in the league for Madden rankings. So 2015. So here, I'm not going to tell you who's on the cover. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to, because one of those guys might be on the list. But these are all 99s 98s and 97s. I couldn't differentiate the 97s. This is why there's 14 people on the list. Now, Shao, you won last week. You get to go first.
Oh, I have quite a few. So this is awesome. I know who's on the cover. I remember that. I remember that game vividly.
There's 399s on this list.
All right, man. I'm gonna start.
Yep.
I guess some of this has got to be low hanging fruit. I guess. 2015. Start with the quarterbacks. I'll go Brady.
Brady was a 96 that year. He's not on the list.
Wow.
Because you said what you said there, I'm going to go with the cover athlete himself. I believe Madden 15, you had Richard Sherman on the cover.
He was a 99. Richard Sherman is correct. That was the highest he's ever been ranked in Madden. Obviously, he was a 99 for 1 year and 1 year only. The other two were 99s for multiple years. Just FYI.
Give me Peyton then.
Peyton Manning is was a 98, and he is number 4 on the list. That was the last year he was good. That was the year that I think they won the Super Bowl.
I'm also going to go with another guy who was running the league at this time. He goes by the name of Megatron.
That's a 99 right there. Calvin Johnson. 2-1.
I will go with the guy that I think was on the cover. I will go with Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson was on a cover, not this cover, but he is a 98, and he led the league in rushing in 2015. So he is number 6, well, tied for 98. I'll stop.
All right, so I might be a year early, but I'm going to go with Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh,
nope, not on the list.
I think I'm a year early.
I think you're 2 years early. I think his rookie year was 2016.
But I think wasn't he on the Madden 16 cover?
He might have been.
I'm going to go back to the quarterbacks because this would have been in his prime, the beginning of his prime anyway. The man I love to hate. I will go with Aaron Rodgers.
That's correct. He's 98.
It's probably the last quarterback.
All right. Who's on that list? Then let's go back to that time frame.
You're about to get some X's coming up. I'm telling you that right now. Some of these are tough, bro.
I'm going to go with, I feel like he was always high. Probably didn't deserve to be this high at that time. No, he wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been still playing then. I was about to lie. I'll
give you 10 seconds now.
Okay. I am going to roll with Todd Gurley.
Oh. This is the only other running back I think that has a shot. We've talked about him before. He's been in other.
Oh, I got one.
I'm
going to go with Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles is actually, hang on 1 second, because I'm almost he's not on the list. He was ranked in 95. He was ranked in 97 by the end of the year, but this is pre-Madden 15 rankings, so that's a strike. I just double-checked because Jamal Charles was leveled up from 95 to a 97 by the updates.
I would imagine that the best left tackle in football has to be on this list. Give me Joe Thomas.
Number 7, 97. 3-3. 3-3. Jamal Charles is a great guess, but that's the elevated Madden rankings, not the preseason rankings. You know the updates, Cottrell.
I do.
I will go with I'll go with Gronk.
Gronk was also a 96. So he did not make the list. Gronk and Brady, both 96s on this Madden. It's 3-3. Contrell has the control again if he takes it.
All right. In 15 here. I'm really trying to go back. I mean, shit. Charlie said he was done with the quarterbacks. I'll go for one more. I'll go Drew Brees.
Nope, not on the list. I think it was a 95. I had it. I listed it earlier, but no, he's not on the list. When do you guys want hints? Because you're going to start needing them.
$2015.
So it's based off the 2014 season going into 2015. I'm shocked you guys are still missing a 99. I get it. I understand, but this is, to me, was the easiest player on the list.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
No.
He retired by then. He was one of the ones I was thinking about. He retired after he tore his pec and won the Super Bowl.
If we get one more X in a row, I'm going to start giving hints out.
Okay. I'm really trying to go back and think, who was I playing with back then?
I love this question. I was so hyped when I put this together.
2015. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Devin Hester.
Nope. All right, I'm gonna start giving hints. Now, if I give you, first of all, I think I should give you positions. That's what I think I should give you. The next hint after that will be teams. Okay. I will give you one big hint, though. If I give you one team, you will 100% get the player within 5 seconds. That's a hint, so you're going to think about that. But here's positions, and I won't do them in order because I feel like I'll be kind of giving them away. There are 3 defensive linemen on the list. There are 1 tight end, 1 corner, 1 running back, and the 2 13 and 14s are offensive linemen.
Hold on.
Wait, what was that?
I want to do that. Can you do it? I'm about to type it and send it in our private chat here.
Sure. 3 defensive linemen. 3 of them. 1 tight end, 1 corner, 1 running back. And 13 and 14.
And then what were they? 13, 14?
They're both offensive linemen that you shouldn't. Those are the ones I don't think you should get. Those are the ones I think they don't make sense. I played Madden for years. I understand what they are. Bill, you're up.
I think I know the tight end. Tight end, I'm assuming it's Jimmy Graham.
Is that your guess?
That's my guess.
Yes, it is Jimmy Graham. And I did not think Jimmy Graham would get like that. He's like the 4th or 5th tight end. I thought he only had a 2-year prime.
He's a little longer than that, but
he really didn't have a long prime. After he left New Orleans, he was terrible.
Talking 2015. I'm gonna go with Khalil Mack.
Nope. Khalil Mack's not on the list. First one to get 6 wins. Callie's at 4. It's 4-3. These are top 10, top 14 Madden players of 2015, Madden 25. And it's when the game comes out, the pre-game rankings. Just for anybody listening at home. I love Derek Dempsey's guesses in the chat. I hope you guys aren't looking at them because they're awful. Peyton Hillis.
I got the private chat up here so I can keep thinking about these positions.
Yep.
Cornerback. We got Sherman off the board. Who else is there?
Give you 10 seconds.
I don't know when he came in the league.
5 seconds.
I'll go with Rivas.
Darrell Rivas is number 9. Well, 97. Darrell Rivas.
All right. Well, I went Khalil Mack the first time. Maybe I'll go have some luck here with the other edge that I feel like goes hand in hand with Khalil. I'll go Von Miller.
No. There's a Club 99er just sitting out there. Like, he might have been the original Club 99er. I thought this would be the easiest one on the list. Callie needs one more to win. That's it.
We didn't guess Aaron Donald, did we?
No, you didn't.
I'll go Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald is not correct, though. I think the way I said that kind of like, no, you didn't. But no, Aaron Donald is not correct.
In 2015, he was 99. That'd have been ridiculous. Wow. All right, let me.
I wanted to go longer, which is why I was like, no,
let me run through some stuff here real quick. No. No.
I love the guesses in the chat. They're amazing. Cooper Cup. No.
They didn't have anybody.
Is Cooper in the league in 2015?
Who was the one?
Saquon wasn't even drafted.
I know. Well, he's in college. He's probably barely in college.
I gotta put a clock on you, Control.
Okay.
When you hear this one, you're gonna be so mad.
I can't just go blank here. I'll go Christian McCaffrey. I know he's not on the list.
Nope. You're right. He's not on the list. I don't think he was drafted by them either.
I don't remember.
It's funny. This just came into my head because of who just texted me, because it's like his favorite player, and it has to be him. If it's not him.
You talking about the Club 99er?
Yeah. It has to be JJ.
It's JJ Watt. That is correct. That is your sixth.
Oh, that W to Billy Cunningham on that one.
So number 1 was Calvin Johnson. Well, 1, 2, and 3 were Calvin Johnson, JJ Watt, Richard Sherman. Then after that was Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Adrian Peterson, Joe Thomas. They were the 98s. The 97 were Darrell Revis, Jimmy Graham, who you got, LaShawn Shady McCoy.
Really?
Yes, 98 or 97. Robert Quinn.
Never got Robert Quinn.
Adamican
Sue, I thought about
thinking about Sue too.
And then I would have got really mad if anybody would have got.
What teams are they on?
I think one was. I feel like they were both Broncos. Hold on.
Oh, dude, I wonder if it's who we were talking about yesterday, Cottrell, because he went through my mind, but I thought he was gonna be too old at that point.
One was a Packer, one was a Bronco.
One was a Packer, one was a Bronco. And they're O-linemen, you said?
Yep, and they're guards, both of them.
Oh, they're guards?
Yeah, one played for the Eagles.
Who are they?
Evan Mathis and Josh Sitton.
Jeez, I don't know who Josh Sitton is.
Yeah,
Josh Sitton is the one who played for the Packers, yeah.
But
Evan Mathis, I know just because he played here.
JJ Watt was a great one. JJ Watt was the one I thought would be the easiest one on the list. I think what happens is he's not been in the league for a while, so like he's forgotten. But JJ Watt was like the original Club 99er. Like he was.
He definitely was. I feel like for me though,
that was the easiest one.
And I know he hasn't been in the league for a while. Like he hasn't been in the league for a while, but like in my mind, peak JJ has been more recent than 2015.
Yeah, you're right. But peak JJ was. His whole career
was
a
long time. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have got Joe Thomas.
Well, he's a Browns fan, bro.
I know, but like I'm saying, if it would have came down to that, like I feel like he would, if he didn't get it right away, he probably would have circled back.
Offensive linemen are extremely tough. But I don't know. It's a diabolical list. I get it. The JJ Watt one hanging around way too long was the funniest one to me. But that's it. By the way, it's funny you said Jamal Charles because when I did the rankings, I went to look them up. I had the end of season rankings, and there was like 20 people that were on 97 or above, and Jamal Charles was one of them. He had a really good year. I think he had a 6 touchdown game near the end of that season, and they upgraded him from a 95 to a 97. So that's funny that you mentioned Jamal Charles because he was a 95. All right, well, let's move on. We got a little baseball action. The reason I wanted to, I didn't want to rush through this segment. I feel like we do that too often with baseball, and the trade deadline is upon us. By the way, Phillies are up 5-0 with 5 solo home runs. Wild.
It's the most Phillies thing ever.
Yeah. But we have a trade deadline that's happening. You know, it's upon us.
Good thing is the trade deadline is next Wednesday, so it'll be fun for us to be able to come on
to recap it. Yeah,
a couple hours after it's officially over and really go through everything. So that'll be it's one of those times where something works out for us.
Well, my question would be this: what teams are buyers, sellers, and what's the biggest name that gets moved?
I think it's common knowledge Eugenio Suarez is going to get moved. It's a matter of where. A lot of people think Yankees. A lot of people think Seattle.
The Yankees don't have a third baseman. They don't have one on the roster.
You're not. I think it's a lot of it. The same conversation we had last week. I think this will be a year where there's going to be a decent amount of actually like big recognizable names moved. I think Detroit's going to buy. Philly's going to buy. I think the Dodgers are going to be buyers. I think San Diego might even sell and buy. I think there's a lot of rumors all coming out of nowhere now. They're trying to unload Dylan Cease because of how much money they're paying him and get something else to plug a hole somewhere else back. I think San Francisco's 100% going to try to buy. And then you have the teams that are going to kind of make it interesting. I don't know. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. They have a lot of very interesting assets on their team. I don't know what Atlanta. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do. So I think Toronto needs a bat, to keep pace there. Team the Phillies are playing right now. Boston, I think, is another interesting team to watch, see what they're going to do. A lot of rumors come out of Baltimore that they're unhappy and they may trade a lot more people than people are letting on. So I do think it'll be very busy. I think it's going to pick up this weekend. And then I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week are going to be nuts.
I think the Braves sell. I think the Guardians sell. I think Stephen Kwan is gone. I think that Sean Murphy is gone for the Braves. Eugenio Suarez is gone. I think that you could look out, and this is a name that for the Yankees or for another team that needs a starting pitcher, Sandy Alcantara, I think, will be moved this trade deadline. He has had a terrible season. He's at a 7 ERA right now, but you might be able to buy low on Sandy Alcantara. I think that's a thing that a big name team will be looking for to put as their number 3 starter.
It's funny you say that. We had a little conversation about that earlier because that's who I want the Guardians. One of the people I want the Guardians to try and go after. I don't necessarily think. I think before the Guardians went on this run they've been on, I think they've won 11 of their last 13. And before that, they were like 14, 15 games out of the division. Obviously, the Tigers have been going crazy there, but now they're only like 2 games out of the wild card. So if you'd asked me this question, I'd say probably like 10 games ago, I would have said, oh, yeah, we're selling everything. But like now, I think they're going to give another go. Stephen Kwan is a name I think that could potentially get moved in this upcoming offseason, like how you saw the Guardians move off of Josh Naylor, during the offseason there. But I do think they're going to try and make a move. And I think that if you go out and try to get a guy like Sandy, they went out last year and got Matthew Boyd, and we just saw him become an all-star this past year. And I think you have to try and go after those like high reward type players if you're in that position. Some other names that I want to look at just Guardians wise, just in general, who I think are going to get traded. Josh Naylor is one. I think the Diamondbacks team is definitely going to be sellers. You talk about Eugenio, but I think there could be a few guys from that roster that could end up on new teams there. But ultimately, the one thing that I'm looking forward to this deadline is what the hell happens in the AL East, because all of those teams are so close together, and that could be the difference in ultimately winning the division or not making the playoffs, because you have other teams in other division. The Rangers have come on. Obviously, you just talked about the Guardians there. You have all the teams in the AL East. Like, it's going to be a dogfight for those 3 wild card spots in the AL. So I think the AL East teams are going to be aggressive. I think it's just a matter of who gets the deals done first.
Yeah, I mean, you look at baseball right now, the Tigers are in absolute topsy-turvy right now. They've lost 9 out of their last 10 games. They're 7 games up right now in the loss column over the Guardians when they were 16 games up in the loss column just 3 weeks ago, which is absurd to think that. But you have the best team in baseball right now being the Milwaukee Brewers.
Which
I didn't have that on my bingo card.
What is their win streak at now? What are they at? 14?
They are at 1.
Oh, they lost. They lost what, yesterday?
Lost. Yesterday.
Or a couple days ago? Damn.
Let's see what it was at. 5. Let me see what it was at. 5, 10. It was at 12. They won 13 out of 14 now.
It's ridiculous. Seemingly out of nowhere. And that division is also nuts. Like, who, I don't think you have any teams in that division that necessarily make a move, but Chicago, but outside of Chicago, like I don't see the Reds making a move. Like I don't see the Brewers making a move. So like the Cubs can go out, make a move, and get a strong hold of that division. So I'm curious to see what happens.
And that's another fun question. What team has the highest run differential in baseball this year? Anyone take a guess?
Is it in that division?
Yes.
Is it the Cardinals?
No. They're -4. This team's a +117.
God. Who's been killing people like that?
The Cubs. +117. Do you think why? I need to ask you a question.
Sure.
I need to understand this a little bit better. Can you help me understand why Jarren Duran is even on the trading block?
I think Boston is in the same predicament that Cleveland is. I think they don't want to pack it in for this season, but at the same time, it's, can you trade certain pieces this year that you're not going to have in a year or two and, make your team better over the next 2 or 3 years? And this is the conversation, Mika, Chell, and Alex had earlier. Because I think there's a couple things Cleveland could do that probably doesn't move the needle this year, but makes them a lot better next year. Because again, if you're telling me you're trading Steven Kwan and possibly your closer, then you're telling me you're not serious about making the playoffs this year. So if both those guys get moved, that's a tough sell. So at that point, you have to be getting pieces back that are going to help you next year or the next 2 or 3 years down the road. Because they'll get Bieber back next year. I think they would be smart to either go out and get Kelly or Gallen from Arizona, bring Naylor back, and I think that's a way more formidable team next year. But we'll see what they do. Duran's also, I think Boston is trying to sell high. He had a crazy year last year where he pretty much outperformed all of his normal, numbers and metrics, and he's come back down to earth a little bit this year. And again, I think if Boston's looking at the playoffs realistically, unless they have some kind of magical run, they don't have the pitching to make it.
No, they don't.
Outside of Crochet, they're not going to keep pace with that division. So again, if somebody's going to overpay you for him, why would you not? And that kind of has to be the thinking. If the Phillies or Seattle or something like that wants another bat, if they're going to overpay you, then you have to pick up the phone and listen.
Any predictions on where anybody goes? Like any big predictions?
I mean,
I would be shocked if Suarez didn't go to the Yankees. Like, I would be shocked if that wasn't what happened there.
I think that's the most logical outcome, which sucks because I would like to see him go to Seattle, and have Rodriguez and Raleigh and him all in the middle of that lineup with that pitching staff. Then exactly. I think that becomes a very formidable team that you don't want to see in the playoffs because they can score runs all of a sudden. He's probably going to be a Yankee, which just sucks. Haven't heard a lot of things with the Mets, and I would find it hard to believe the Mets are going to stand pat. Cohen is proven over and over he'll spend money, so I would be shocked if they're not involved. Maybe they pull off something kind of out of the blue where they're not linked to. Other than that, like name by name, I think there's a lot of, like I said, there's 3 or 4 closers that people think are going to move, and it's going to be the same 5 or 6 teams linked with all of them. Like the Phillies are going to be linked to every closer because we need one.
Yeah, I want Emmanuel Clase A.
Well, you're not getting him. He's officially been taken off of the trade block, so you might get Kwan. They said 20% chance Kwan gets moved. Clase is not getting moved.
I want Clase and Kwan. I'll give up Painter.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not doing that.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
But again, I mean, you have
6 runs in the 5th inning. Take the lead on the Phillies.
I mean,
Grand slam.
The interesting one too is like, obviously teams always buy for like, you have to go out and get pitching. Like, is Seth Lugo going to get shipped somewhere? Like, I think that's somebody who 100% can get moved and be in rotation for potentially a playoff team and be a 2 or a 3, depending on what your staff looks like there, and be a really good contributor for you. I mean, I think about All-Star Stowers in Miami. Like, do they move off with him? Because they always, it feels like if they're going to sell, if they're going to give up, Sandy, maybe a team comes call and they need an outfielder, like maybe the Phillies get in on something like that. If you guys are always talking about needing a left fielder, and that could be like a splash move. So I think it gets crazy. I think you get multiple All-Stars from this past season moved.
I'll be interested.
I do agree with that. And like I said, and then you have, like I said, Arizona, I think is going to kind of be a fire sale. I think Kelly gets moved. I think Gallen gets moved. Obviously Suarez and probably Naylor. The Padres one with Cease, with all that coming out in the last day or so, I got to believe there's some truth to it for what they're paying them. But I think that's I don't know. That's a tough trade for me because you're going to try to trade him to somebody who's not a contender. You're not going to trade him in the division. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want to take that contract. So I think the Angels are going to be weird to watch. The Phillies have been linked to Ward the last couple of days, but they're right in the middle of the wild card playoff, out of nowhere. And again, they're a team that doesn't have the pitching to do it, but the way they're hitting, I don't know what the Angels do. He would be a good piece to add. I mean, he's going to be 35 home run guy with, probably around 90 RBIs when it's done. So it's weird how important the rest of this week's games are and next weekend's are. Yeah. Because then once teams go like 1-5 in that stretch, and all of a sudden they're like, all right, we're done, we're selling. And the other teams will get false hope and go 5-1, and they'll be like, all right, man, we need to hang on another day. And it's funny how volatile it is and how every game matters for the next week, depending on what teams want to do.
There's been any discussion about it, but we've already talked about the fire sale in Arizona. Like, how deep does that go? Like, maybe does a team get over aggressive and say, hey, if we can bring in Corbin Carroll for the right price, like, does Arizona make that move? I don't think that would be as smart enough. But
the haul you would have to send them for him being under team control for probably 3 or 4 more years.
I didn't realize he had that many left, but yeah.
I mean, he was rookie of the year, 2 years ago? I think Corbin and Marte are untouchable.
I think he is the Phillies go out and get the guy they were trying to get last year in Mason Miller. I think he comes. He's not having a great year. He's at 4 ERA, and I think they get him for a lot cheaper than they would have got him last year.
That's possible. That kind of came up the last 2 days because they've been linked a lot with Kaze, obviously, and then the guy from Minnesota, and then Miller's name kind of started popping up again. So, who no secret that Dombrowski loves. So we will. That could be interesting. I think if you get him, you pair him with Alvarado for the future, obviously not the rest of this year. I mean, that's a deadly back end of a bullpen. So I think that'll come down to price because again, he's still under control for a couple of years. But I mean, Oakland's going to do whatever Oakland's going to do, like they always do. But I don't think they'll want to have a shitty team on the field per se when they open that new stadium in 2 years. So I think whatever they're going to do from this point forward, a lot of it's going to be building towards whatever that they want that team to look like come opening day when that stadium's done in Vegas.
Do you think Alvarado pitches for the Phillies this year?
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of talk about them not even playing him, but their bullpen's been so bad.
Bullpen's been bad. I mean, however you slice it, it's going to be able to give Schramm a night off here or there that he wouldn't have before. It's just going to get tough when you get down to the last couple weeks, really, though, because you want guys set in their roles so they know, pretty much what kind of situation they're going to come into. You can't use him in any kind of high leverage situation because you're not going to have him for the playoffs. So that's where it gets dicey down the stretch with Alvarado.
But the other thing, though, with that is, and it doesn't look like it's going to be that way just based on what records are. Maybe on the flip side of that, if you can clinch a couple games early and certain guys, you want to get them rest and ready for the playoffs there, maybe he pitches in those situations too.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, I think the option is 100% going to be there. And the thing is he's a good enough pitcher where even if it's not even just in those rest situations, if they're gotta have it games, like you just said, the bullpen struggling, you might want to throw him out there instead of what you have there in the bullpen too. Screw whoever who's going to be pitching for you in the playoffs. If you got to win these games to win the division, you're throwing out your best. So, I mean, I think, whatever way you look at it.
No. Can't pitch.
I know he's suspended. Yeah. But I mean, if it's got to have a game, it's a, one game, you got the Mets in a one game for the division. Like you're not playing them. If he's your best option in
I don't know if he's their best
8th
option.
or 9th.
PEDs.
That's why he's the best option.
He took weight loss stuff.
Orioles be a team to watch. Yeah, I agree. A ton of people moving out of Baltimore.
Cedric
All right.
Mullins.
Cedric Mullins, I think. I mean, the Phillies been linked to him a lot.
Give me. I want just call up Cleveland.
No.
I need Cleveland to lose a bunch of games, and then give me Clase and Quan, and we'll call it a day. That's all I want.
Well, we got Baltimore in town. We've been smacking them around. I don't know what the score is today, but we've been smacking them around. So I'm hoping they say Cedric Mullins doesn't leave town.
No, because like I said, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, we could talk about something like Cleveland, for instance. I think a lot of people still think they're going to sell. They win. I don't know what today's score is, but they go win tonight.
It's 2-2 tonight.
2-2. They win tonight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then all of a sudden their front office will be like, "We're not trading anybody. Like we're going to go get somebody." So it's that touchy. So again, there's things we've talked about tonight that we think will happen, and 4 days from now we'll be like, probably definitely not going to happen. So, like I said, it's next Wednesday's show will be fun because there'll be a lot to discuss by next Wednesday.
I'll tell you what, in the meantime, between now and the deadline, we got the Royals and then follow that up with the Rockies at home. If somehow, some way that turns to a dumpster fire, I don't even care if we sell. At that point, it doesn't even matter. You lose a series to the Rockies, at this point, you're playing as hot as you are, or you lose a city against Kansas City and you're playing as hot as you are. Not even lose a series, but you drop a lot of games there. It's might as well sell at that point.
Don't come in here with my Philly slander. the way the Yankees
looking like
are.
Shally on the hill.
Please.
It's 6 walks.
Please.
All right, let's move forward. Little NFL action, little fun NFL action. Control, you gave us a couple questions, and we put together a couple lists for you guys. Something small, something light. Control, where do you want to start?
I would want to start with coaches. I feel like the coaches have been something that you always kind of look forward to going into the season, and a lot of pressure on people. So got two kind of top 5 list here. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on top 5 coaches on the hot seat. I've seen it's been talked about on Coffee and Sports. I love the topic there. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts about this.
So I'll be quick because I gave my list and then I'll critique yours. I've already given my list on Coffee and Sports. So I'll read it out here so you guys all hear it. Number 5, I have a tie. And it really depends on what you're talking about pressure. Pressure to get fired, yeah, Dan Campbell wouldn't be on this list. But pressure to perform, Dan Campbell makes my list. I have Dan Campbell and Kevin Stefanski tied for 5. I have Mike Tomlin at 4. Always pressure right now in Pittsburgh. I won a playoff game since Antonio Brown. Zach Taylor at 3. And I think he's under pressure because I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think he has a job if it's not for Joe Burrow. I don't think he's a good coach. And I think Cottrell now that's pinpointed Joe Burrow's rookie year, he said Zach Taylor stinks. Or 2 years in, said Zach Taylor stinks. They went to the Super Bowl and he pretended to eat his words, but in reality, he was probably right the whole time. And then number 2, and the only reason I have number 2 is because he's going to get fired anyway. And I have Brian Dable. But my number 1 is a guy that I just don't understand how he consistently gets past this, is Mike McDaniel. And Brian Flores got fired after a 6-10, a 9-8, or 10-6, and a 9-8 season. There were the 3 seasons Brian Flores had and got fired. 2 winning seasons after getting inheriting and dumpster fire. Mike McDaniel has not been better than Flores, and he's on his 4th year here. So Mike McDaniel's on my hot seat.
Bill?
I can go if you want. I'll go. Number 5 for me, I have the same guy Gene did. I have Kevin Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. I think Cleveland has done him no favors between signings and injuries and everything else. If I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'd probably want to get the hell out of Cleveland, if I'm being 100% honest. Take a year or 2 off, come back somewhere else, and kind of have a clean slate. So I got Kevin Stefanski, number 5. I also have Zach Taylor. I have Zach Taylor, number 4. I kind of agree with Gene. I think he gets a lot of he gets a pass because of the Super Bowl appearance. But that being said, I don't know how much I can hold him accountable for when you coach for the Bengals and that front office and that ownership and the way we already talked about earlier this show, the way they spend their money, the way they handle players. That's a lot of that stuff is out of his control. So I think he's on the hot seat, but I think much like Stefanski, not that I would want to walk away from Joe Burrow, but you'd be hard pressed to say that I wouldn't walk away from Bengals ownership. Let's put it that way. Number 3 for me, I have a guy that I thought Gene would mention for sure. Not for sure, but I got Shane Steichen from the Colts. It is, again, I don't know how much of it you could put on him, but at some point you got to win games, and you got to win games with, I guess, the hands that you're dealt. Anthony Richardson was a colossal miss and mistake drafting him where they did. I think they're going to put all their eggs in the Daniel Jones basket this year and see what happens. But I think if this all goes crooked and goes wrong and sideways, I think there's a decent shot Shane Steichen gets fired. Number 2, Brian Dable. Don't really need to add on to this. Again, I think you see a pattern here. I mean, we've talked about the Giants at length, the way they've handled things the last 2 years. I like Brian Dable. I actually think Brian Dable would probably be a really good coach in a different situation if he had more say in personnel, not trading Saquon or not letting Saquon Barkley walk off your team and getting a real quarterback. So I think he's another guy. that in a different situation could be successful. But number one, I got the same guy Gene does. I got Mike McDaniel. I'm perplexed because he's the one guy out of all that list you would say has the most complete team year in, year out. They've went out and spent money on big players. He's got one of the most talented offenses in the league. And you fired a guy where you said 10-6 wasn't good enough. And that's pretty much what this guy does every year, and either misses the playoffs by a game or gets in and gets beat. I don't think he's moving the needle or making that franchise any better. So I got Mike McDaniel number one.
So it's funny. I have a variation of both of your list here. Got 5 names that have already been mentioned here. Number 5 for me, I got Shane Steichen for a lot of the reason why, for a lot of what you said, Bill. I think for him, year 3, you have made the playoffs, and I get it. You haven't had a quarterback, but I think a part of it is also that you kind of have to deal with what was given to you. Like I don't know how much say he had in necessarily drafting Anthony Richardson there, but I'd imagine as a head coach of a football team, you're in those rooms and you're having those conversations. And I'm not saying that he was out there pounding the table for Anthony Richardson, but there was a discussion that had to have happened where he said, we can make it work with this guy. It might not be year 1, it might not be year 2, but we can make it work with this guy. And if that conversation wasn't had, then Shane Steichen should be working on getting out of Indianapolis as fast as he can. I don't. Also, with Indianapolis, maybe now things may be a little bit different now that they're going to be going through transition and ownership and things like that. Keep it in the family, but maybe things go different there for Shane. But I do think that's going to be a big part of him being on the hot seat this year. I think winning will matter. Number 4 for me.
Sorry,
What's up,
Alex? But he has to deal with the Tua injury problem, which is why they've underachieved. Oh God, I can't.
Number 4 for me, I have Mike McDaniel. I'm the lowest of you 4, but he 100% had to be on this list here. I think his seat. I don't think his seat is necessarily hot. I think it should be, but I don't think it is. Partially because of what Alex mentioned. Like, they do have to deal with that year in, year out. And I'm not saying that I'm okay with it, because when they lost their playoff games to the Chiefs, it wasn't because Tua was hurt. It was because they had guys who didn't perform and it was cold outside. So I don't necessarily think that McDaniel should be getting a pass for these things there. But I also think you bring in McDaniel, their offense looks great when Tua plays, and then Tua gets hurt. Everything falls to shit. They back into the playoffs and they lose. At some point, he has to get held responsible. But with that said, I don't think he's on his final straw like how I have the next 3 guys that are ahead of him.
Who had a better 3-year stretch, Mike McDaniel or Brian Flores?
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores got fired.
Agreed.
Okay,
but
just check.
You and I both know, and we both agree that he shouldn't have got fired. And we also know that, especially in today's NFL, this offensive mind takes precedent.
I think it's even more than that. I mean, I think Flores, we talked about it. He was outspoken against some of the things
sure.
the ownership wanted to do, and
for sure, he didn't like Tua. He didn't want to draft Tua. He said they wanted to go get Deshaun Watson, and they got Tua anyway. He was winning games with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They made him put Tua in anyway. And I mean, I get that. There is a whole, conundrum about what happened with Brian Flores in Miami. I'm just saying, I don't think at this point, although they should be, I don't think they're on their final straw with Mike McDaniel this upcoming season.
So how bad do you think they have to be for him to get whacked then?
I think Tua would have to play the whole year, and they go 7-10, 6-11.
I think that's what they'll do. I got news for you. I mean this when I say this. I'm projecting the Miami Dolphins to finish last in that division this year.
Oof. I don't know where and I'm not saying you have it, but I don't know where all this Patriot love is coming from.
It's not. I think the Patriots go 7-10. I think they improve. I think Mike Vrabel's going to be a good coach.
Like I said, not you. I'm just saying, list in general. They're we saw the list of
it was Brett and Kyle.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about top 5 DBs, top 5 linebackers, those lists that we kept seeing the Patriots in the top 5 for. Like from NFL, like NFL.com or wherever we were pulling the list from. That's what I'm talking about.
I think there's a
Drake
lot of
May,
people.
Of crazy.
I think a lot of people think Drake May is legit after watching him play on a really bad team last year. And I think a lot of it is, to Gene's point. I think what they did to Mayo was disgraceful. But that being said, Mike Vrabel's a better coach. But I think him being there and with his track record, I think a lot of people just think, like Gene said, I don't think anybody has Patriots making the playoffs, but I think everybody just expects them to drastically improve.
I think they'll drastically improve. I have the Dolphins finishing 7-10 with the Patriots 7-10. I'm way higher than the Jets than most people. I told you that. You guys already know this. I think the Bills win the division.
I think that's an interesting name.
Justin Fields?
No, Sean McDermott.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, good. Sorry, finish your list, Control.
Yeah, finish it. I'm sorry. I'm rude. I'm sorry.
So number 3, I have Zach Taylor. I think if Zach Taylor goes another year without making the playoffs, and Mike Brown is paying Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and potentially Trey Hendrickson and all these guys all this money, they're not going to deal too well with not being in the playoffs. And I do think he would get the boot, and especially after, kind of seeing quarterback. Like, I think people are already forming their ideas about Zach Taylor. Gene has been very outspoken about him. I have in the past there as well. And honestly, just how it looks, I don't know if him and Joe have like the greatest relationship. I don't think Joe would be in Mike's office like, hey, we can't get rid of Zach Taylor. Like, he's a big part of my development, things like this. So I think that would be an easy thing to give him the boot and get somebody in there that Joe would 100% play for and potentially help them win.
Joe's a unicorn like that, though.
I mean, he's your franchise quarterback.
My point is, I don't
think.
Correct, but my point is, I don't think he would care if he left. But I don't think there's anybody that you're coming in that you're bringing either that you're like, oh, like we're gonna make Joe like even better. Like.
But that's not the point, though. You don't have to make him better. I get it. I want him to win.
I get it, but my point again, I don't. I have my list. What?
No, there's the win shit. He said, "I want Joe Burrow to win." Is his comment about him not winning?
That would be I'm saying that's what Cincinnati would want. They don't care about Joe Burrow being better. Like, Joe Burrow's been a top 5 quarterback damn near his whole career at this point. But when they don't win, that's when it matters. And if you don't make the playoffs 3 years in a row, like, that's going to be important for Zach Taylor's job. So that's why I ultimately have him number 3. Number 2, I got Mike Tomlin. I think this is the last dance for Mike Tomlin. You go out, you get Aaron Rodgers, you get DK Metcalf, you get Jalen Ramsey. You never see the Steelers make moves like this. I think this is their last ditch effort to see if this is something that we can make work with Mike Tomlin. And he shouldn't get fired. Like, what he's done in Pittsburgh has been commendable. He should be able to leave on his own terms, but I do think this will be the farewell of all farewells, ultimately, if this season goes bad for Pittsburgh and you either see Pittsburgh make the playoffs and not win a playoff game or not make the playoffs at all, which, I feel like never happens under the Mike Tomlin era there. But number 1 for me, I feel like is the low-hanging fruit there. I think you guys both have number 2, and that's Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is in a year where he has 3 guys that play the quarterback position that probably won't be in a position to win you many games. He has a great defensive line, and that's pretty much all you can say about the New York Giants. And they basically told him, if you don't make the playoffs, you're going to get fired this year. I think he is sitting there with, pocket 7s, and he's hoping that finds a way to win the
fight. Play him like the Kings, baby.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the guy next to him is looking at pocket aces. You got pocket kings on the table too. I just don't think it's going to happen for Brian Daboll this year. So
yeah, somebody
had to go with him number 1.
Table. Somebody folded a 7 at the table too.
Yeah, I say you need the case
1 out
to come out. Yeah, you need the cooler. Do you think if Tomlin makes the playoffs, he gets whacked though? Because I don't.
No,
I
he
do.
shouldn't.
If he makes the playoffs and doesn't win a game, I do. I think it's going to be. But I think
also
it's
don't
crazy when you think about T.J. Watt. As long as he's been in Pittsburgh, he does not have a playoff win under his belt. And I'm not saying it's Tomlin's fault. Like, that's not what I'm coming on here to say. But I think at some point, I think he's gonna get the Andy Reid in Philadelphia treatment.
That's different. I also don't think it would get. It would have to be terribly bad, I think, for them to get rid of him in the middle of the season. I think they can make the decision in the middle of the season, but I don't think there's any.
I don't think he would go in the middle of the season. No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any situation where Tomlin doesn't finish the season. I hope him and Aaron Rodgers get in a fist fight. That's what I'm really hoping for. Tomlin beat his ass.
All right. Well,
that's it
guys,
for that.
Instead of doing the top 5 list, we'll do that next week. It's 8:52. I do want to do a quick recap of the UFC because it did happen. It was a terrible card, awful card. The last fight was good. I'll be very quick about it. Dustin Poirier is a warrior. I'm glad he got to go out on his own at home and get the main event. I hate when UFC cards, all 5 cards go to decisions. I thought the card was awful. I thought it was boring. It was long. The last fight was good. I had it 4-1. So
Same.
I had Holloway winning the fight 4-1. But, Dustin definitely had his moments. But at the end of the day, I'm glad he got to go out on his own accord. I'm happy for Max. I want to flush the card. The card stunk.
That's actually, I'm surprised by you, Gene. I am very surprised by you that you said the card stunk.
You didn't think the card stunk?
I mean, yeah, you had 5 decisions, but I mean, outside of the Paulo and Kopylov fight, because I don't remember if it happened, but you had a knockdown in every single fight. Like, it wasn't like they were just throwing pillows back and forth, or you had guys just laying and praying on top of people. Like, you had a lot of good striking fights. Like the Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez fight was great. Like, they were going back and forth. Obviously, Dustin and Max.
Let me just stop that. I wouldn't say it was great.
Great's not the word. It was a very good fight for what they were on the card. Like
the Patricio Pitbull Dan Ige fight was awful. Daniel Zellhuber, who was supposed to be this big up and coming fighter for the UFC, lost to Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson had to knock down in round 1, and you had fireworks at a point.
Roman Kopylov is pissed down his leg in 2 big fights. I'm tired of seeing him as a -220 favorite. Stop putting him, let him fight crappy people on fight nights and he can win those fights. Roman Kopylov needs to stop being put on the main card. He pissed down his leg. He fought terrible. Am I wrong?
He did. He fought bad. Paulo Costa looked like the Paulo Costa of hair transplant.
Yeah, Paulo Costa called out Hamzat Chimaev.
Yeah,
come on, bro. Did you hear that after the fight?
I did, but the funny part about it is Hamza has been talking about your girl DM'd me. He was like, I just told her that she needs to come be with the real man. I was like, that is hilarious. So that's why they actually have beef on a personal level, which is hilarious.
They hate
like you don't. I'm like, Hamzat is probably in the best position ever because you can literally say whatever you want to, and Paulo Costa can't do shit about it.
Can't do shit.
Let's get into You Got to Be Kidding Me. Any other thoughts on UFC, by the way, Bill? Do you have any?
No, I mean, it's I agree with you. I mean, again, Dustin is a guy that I became a bigger fan more and more of. Like, the more I watched him fight, the more he kind of rose up the rankings. He falls in that crazy category where he has so many big wins and just can never really win the big one at the right time. But that being said, dude never turned down a fight, never went into the cage and tried to fight like, let me eke out a decision and super strategic. Like, dude is a fighter at heart. Like, went in there and balled out all the time. So it'll be sad to see him go. Like you said, I'm glad he went out on his own accord, and got to write the ending of his story the way he wanted it to, which I think is important. And I think too many people stay too long and don't get that opportunity. And I think he saw the writing on the wall with his body and everything else, knowing I think he knew he didn't have that run left in him. So, like I said, it's sad to see him go, but, happy for him, his family, and they can relax and, live life now. And you got to give Max credit. Just another big win for Max. So,
I lied. I didn't mean to lie. I apologize for lying. The UFC should never gave a moderate fighter that type of farewell. The end of that card, if you watch the end of that card, now I'm going to tell the truth, right? I love Bobby Ashton. He's a friend of mine, came over to watch the fight. Jacob, Bobby, a couple guys come over to watch the fight when we have the UFC card. Jacob left the moment the fight was over. Like, the moment the fight was over. Bobby sat on my couch and watched the entire, and I'm not trying to go to bed, bro. I'm not look, I understand if it was like the end of like a historic guy's career. Dustin Poirier is the definition of mid. And they gave him like a whole like mid. He's mid.
He's not mid, bro. He's not mid. Hey, he's not mid.
Farewell like he was Kobe and he was Paul Pierce.
Bill, you know what's funny? And I said this, and I don't remember what group message. It wasn't with you guys. Dustin Poirier is Chris Paul.
Oh God!
Here we go. Christ. I'm done. I'll see you guys next week. Not even doing it. He's waiting on that all night. The list. The list was a setup. This was all a setup just to drop that before we go into the last segment.
He gives you the interim. He got the interim belt. He's well beloved. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But when it was time for the big one, he just couldn't get it done. Sounds like Chris Paul to me. Long career.
I'm not.
No way he's on. I thought he was going to say there's no way.
You're not baiting me in this. But what I'll say is this.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, all right. Can I
change my mind? I'm at a table. I'm at a table.
There's no way. No way he's letting this go. There's no way he's letting it go.
I do want to ask you a question though. Do you think Chris Paul deserves a farewell tour the way Dustin Poirier got at the end of this UFC?
He's all right. Absolutely. But if we're being honest, he's going to get one.
Absolutely.
Like Chris Paul's not going to get a farewell tour. Like
yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Not.
If he says
Crosby retired the same year Chris Paul does.
Oh wait, you said like who?
Do you think Chris Paul should get the same farewell tour as Dustin Poirier just got this last event?
His last game, they will do a very big thing for him. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
His last home game, there will be a big thing for Chris Paul.
I think it'll be closer to Paul Pierce than it was Kobe Bryant.
No,
and even Paul got some stuff,
Pierce. Though. Yeah, and had to be with play with Paul Pierce. Hated Paul Pierce. I don't think anybody that Chris Paul's ever played with has come out and said they don't like.
I watched the end of that
everybody else that played
thing, and they had him like untie the gloves and drop the gloves and give everybody a hug, and it was a whole thing about never won anything.
Oh man, you're a Dustin Poirier hater all of a sudden.
No, I'm not. He was a good fighter. I just watched a ton of fighters retire from the UFC and not have like a farewell like Dustin Poirier did.
He's also in his hometown and in like it was.
They set the whole card up for him.
I know. So why wouldn't he have
weird
that
title shot for no reason? So he could have a title if he won.
There's no rules for that title.
Oh,
it's like the 24/7 belt.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
get in there and scrap. Yeah.
I'm not getting in this. Let's get into you. Got to be kidding me, Cantrell, for being salty at the end of the night.
You're not getting into it. You sure?
What do you want me to do? You want me to argue with you?
Change your mind.
So I'll change your mind, right? Chris Paul's the top 5 point guard of all time. Is Dustin Poirier a top 5 light heavyweight or lightweight? The answer is no. Stop it. Conor McGregor, Habib, stop it, bro. The list goes on.
All right.
Matt Hughes, DJ Penn. Like, are you guys serious right now? We're not doing this. Islam Makhachev. He's at any of the Charles Oliveira. Like, that's 7, bro. Like, are you serious right now?
I mean, see, he's got better. He's probably got better numbers than Charles, though. So.
No, he doesn't.
At lightweight, I mean, you got to think half Charles' career was at featherweight. Like, if we're going lightweight career for lightweight career. It might be close.
Half of Dustin's career was at 145. You had Frankie Edgar, Justin Gaethje wouldn't be in that, but you had Frankie Edgar who was ahead of him.
Justin Gaethje is Poirier Jr. Yeah.
100%. I stopped there. But like there was look, I'll make a statement and you guys can laugh at the statement all you want. Eddie Alvarez had a better 155
I knew
career.
it. There was no way we were getting out of this segment without hearing fucking Eddie Alvarez's name. I knew it.
Did. He won a title.
I was sitting here
waiting for titles.
I was waiting for it. I was like, he's going to say it. He's going to say it. He's going to say it.
He won multiple titles.
Dustin Poirier is a better fighter than Eddie Alvarez. Sorry.
I disagree.
Oh, that's
Dustin
ridiculous.
fought Eddie at the end of Eddie's career.
Eddie's
main career was in Bellator. What?
I said I don't think it's about when they fought or where they fought. I'm in general, like Dustin is definitely more revered than Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, because Dustin fought his whole career in the UFC. Eddie won a championship.
Very fraudulently, but
he beat Rafael dos Anjos, the champion. What was fraudulent about that? He knocked him out. There's no fraudulent. And then he defended it twice.
Did he defend it?
Oh, he did.
Obviously, I was about to say, did he defend it twice? I thought Connor
He
went up.
Gilbert Melendez, Anthony Pettis, Rafael dos Anjos, Justin Gaethje, and then he got DQ'd versus Dustin Poirier. There was a no contest because he kicked him in the head, and Dustin didn't want to keep fighting.
Chelsea, who?
All right, let's go. We said who for who? You said who for
Melendez.
Gilbert Melendez? You
no, I know who he is. That was the point though. That's a very
Melendez,
who name.
Pettis, all those guys.
This is the whole point.
He didn't fight any of them in their primes.
What?
He didn't fight Gilbert Melendez in his prime. He didn't fight Anthony Pettis in his prime.
He fought Anthony Pettis.
I don't know if Anthony Pettis didn't really have a prime, but
let's not do that.
Beat Michael Chandler, bro. He's got a whole list.
Everybody's beat Michael Chandler.
Yeah, you're right.
He was 1-9 in the UFC.
Well, listen, they both beat Gaethje too. But let's move into you. Got to be kidding.
See, and I hate that because I love Gaethje.
Alvarez beat him. Knocked him out.
Was it prime Gaethje?
All right, so
10-1. 10-0. All right, you gotta be kidding me, Cottrell.
All right, so this week, I mean, I just feel like this is a quarterly news story at some point. This time he's not actually on the roster yet, but he is a Georgia commit.
Weekly. This is a quarterly.
Chase Calicut arrested, charged in violent and driving incident. This marks the 29th time since Georgia won their first national championship in 2022 that they've had, in this case, it's a commit, but that they've had a player get in some sort of vehicular dispute against the law. I just don't understand how, one, parents keep sending their kids to Georgia, and two, how the NCAA has not stepped in yet. We're talking about, Jim Harbaugh and the whole thing at Michigan and the loss of institutional control because of like sign stealing stuff. Like, and I get it. Like, that's a story for another day. Kids literally breaking the law, what feels like weekly in automobiles at this point, and it's every time it's Georgia player. Like, there's not a trend with any other university, but one of the top 5 brands in all of college football right now in Georgia has this going on every single time. And we've really heard nothing about Kirby Smart and nothing from him as far as keeping him accountable or him keeping his players accountable. So this week for me, yet another instance of Georgia just having guys breaking other driving laws.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Damn it, Georgia. Damn it.
I think the crazy thing is, I mean, I agree with the NCAA part, but it's like Kirby Smart, like, doesn't even bring it up. And like the fact that like all the people that cover Georgia don't have the balls to ask him about it. Like, hey, Kirby, you think you got a problem? Like, just
that's an easy question, and you know Kirby's gonna lose his fucking mind. Like, you're gonna have the story of the day right there. Kirby is gonna lose his mind if you ask him that.
Absolutely is. I didn't really have one until today. This one's more funny than serious. And I don't mean to pick on the Cleveland Browns here, but if you're not familiar with what happened today, the Cleveland Browns put on this big, huge display, had a float. I guess is out in the lake. Is that where that was?
Yeah.
I guess it's the lake. To unveil their brand new helmets, which I might add, I like a lot, actually. I'm not going to lie. But there was a photographer for the team that was on the corner of the float taking all these pictures. And if you haven't watched it yet, it was definitely a windy day. Don't get me wrong. But if you watch it from the one angle, the bro just walks right off the raft into the water. Mid picture, just walks right off the raft into the water. Bro, you got a better Madden awareness. You got to know where you are. You got to know where you are at all times. You got to keep your head up. So for me this week, Cleveland Browns photographer.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
I have a video for mine. So let me share my screen.
Toughest defender you've ever faced?
Hold
Eric Spoelstra, whatever head coach at the time.
Eric Spoelstra is one of the toughest defenders you've ever faced?
Yeah, he never put me in the game.
Toughest
Michael Beasley took an interview for the Big Three, and they asked him who the toughest defender he ever went against, because Michael Beasley is, by his own admission, the best one-on-one player in the world. He went and said that Eric Spoelstra, because he didn't put him in the game. I wish people would take more accountability for why they were not successful in basketball. I don't think Michael Beasley is not successful, but for him to act like the coach is the reason, because he wants to play one-on-one basketball and not play team basketball, he's the reason why you didn't pan out in the NBA. There's a ton of teams in basketball that could have used your services. You could have been awesome. You weren't. You were okay. You were mid. Probably mid at best. Take accountability for your own actions. Don't blame your coach because he didn't put you in the game. So for this week, Michael Beasley.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
It's funny because you're 100% right with what you said, but at the same time, and this isn't to defend him, but former number two overall pick, and in what, year 2 or year 3, they bring in LeBron and Chris Bosh. Like, at that point, like, you're not that guy, pal. So like I think he said openly as well on other podcasts, like that just like mentally messed him up. Like he was always a 1 or a 2, and he thought that him and Dwayne Wade were gonna have something going there. So I think a lot of times he does hold accountability for himself, but there, like that's just funny because he 100% is a big reason why his career didn't pan out to what it should have, because he was a good player.
Yeah, I agree. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Got nothing.
Shall
I mean, I guess I would say congrats to you two, along with myself. Show 250. That's a big number. Bring it up all the time, but it's. I can like vividly remember our first episode, and 250 later, to still be doing it, still thriving. It's a lot of shows that don't get this far, so I guess it's a little pat on the back to each and every one of us. So I would just throw that little tidbit in there.
250 straight Wednesdays. Like I think we missed one because of Christmas, but we didn't really miss it. We just did it another day, but
yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody tuning in this week to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own College Control. Uncle Shally, Scholastic Shally, Mr. William Shawcross. We are signing out.